Uh, Dan, can you put my slide? No, my slide. Okay. All right. As I promised you, a very special and very exciting event. Elizabeth Doherty, Regional Director of the U.S. Office of the Patent and Trademark, USPTO. She is a great visionary person. She is a great leader, and she is a member of the board of directors of National Academy of Inventors. When I first met her about 3 or 4 years ago, I was completely blown out by her dedication to move the innovation from the ideation point of view to the commercialization. And in that particular path, as I mentioned in my remarks a few minutes ago, the patents, trademark, and copyrights and trade secrets, they make a very critical role in order to secure the investment and the resources and give the confidence to the ecosystem that is engaged in the translation of innovation to market. So, Elizabeth has been a strong supporter of NJIT and specifically the NAI chapter at NJIT. She has been with us at least 2 previous times. She visited us as a part of the Center for Translational Research special events on IP and the technology transfer. So I can't express my gratitude enough for her taking the time and to be with us. So, excuse me. This particular event has 3 parts, and this is the National Academy of Inventors chapter at NJIT annual event of Innovation Day. The first, we will have the honor of listening to Elizabeth representing the National Academy of Inventors here for the distinguished talk. And after that, we are very proud this year to start a new program or the new initiative, I should say. And this is the strategic initiative, long overdue. So when I was in the provost office and now continuing serving as the senior VP for research, I always thought that we need to provide more recognition and reward for our faculty and students who are working relentlessly and very tremendous effort that they apply in order to secure their innovation and go in the rather very sophisticated process of acquiring the patent. It is not a trivial process. It has several stages of it, but it is a very rewarding process once it is completed. But we need to recognize that usually in academia, there is more emphasis given onto the publication. And the history tells us that many of the innovative ideas in the academia, they just sit there in the academia or in the publication record because academia has not taken the initiative for securing the protection of those particular ideas. So it becomes a little bit risky proposition for the investors in order to help the translation to the market. Just one example that you all know the computed tomography, right? X-ray computed tomography. If I ask you when it was invented, you probably are going to struggle, right? The X-ray computed tomography is based on a mathematical paper that was published by a Russian scientist, J. Radon, in 1917. So you will ask me this question, what it was doing between 1917 to almost 70s, because X-ray computed tomography scanner didn't become reality until 70s. So it sat there. It sat there in a publication journals, and one US scientist and faculty, Alan Cormack, who is the professor of mathematics at Tufts University, took a sabbatical to Kremlin and then found that particular paper in 1967, and then came back and create an experiment to convert that particular mathematical algorithm into a scanner experiment. And that's how the first prototype of X-ray computed tomography for 3D imaging was made. So you could argue that if there were these kind of programs or these kind of initiatives of not treating the academia as the discovery engine, but also transform them into the innovation engine, and our faculty and graduate students and undergraduate students like you start thinking about taking your innovative idea outside in the real world, not just staying into the lab or the publication world. So this kind of ecosystem is very important, and the USPTO plays a very strong role. So what we are doing in the second part of today's event, that we are going to be honoring and recognizing the tremendous vision, innovation that our faculty and the student have put together and worked with the institution to secure a US patent. So we are going to give the US Patent Award, and I have requested Elizabeth to join me in giving the US Patent Award with those trophies up over there. And in the third part, we are going to induct those who are not already the member of the National Academy of Inventors to become the member of NAI, and Elizabeth, representing NAI, will do the oath ceremony. So that is the outline. Let's start, and could you put her presentation up over there? And please join me in giving very, very warm welcome to Elizabeth Doherty.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Adam, and good morning. How's everyone this morning?
Good morning.
Wait, we want to try that one more time. How's everyone this morning?
Great.
We're talking about science. We're talking about research. We're fantastic. I have to actually admit that I feel a little bit guilty that I am taking time away from any of this, because this is really the star of yesterday and today's show. These presentations, the research that's behind them, the passion, the excitement, those of you who have been pursuing these various research projects. So I have to say I feel a little bit guilty, but only a little bit, because I've been invited today to talk about two of my most favorite things, one of which is the National Academy of Inventors, the second of which is intellectual property. Now, you might have thought I was going to say cats and dogs, which I do like as well, but today I've been asked to represent the National Academy of Inventors and to also touch briefly on my role and work at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. As Adam said, I am the Northeast Regional Outreach Director at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. It is a position I've held for several years now, but I have actually, in fact, been with the agency 34 years this month. That's right, she's been my one and only. Now, I'd love to say that I came to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office because I fell in love with doing research like what you're doing today. But I didn't. I have a degree in physics, and I graduated with a degree in physics not knowing what I was going to do. I didn't think I was cut out for doing the work that you're doing, being in a lab, doing a deep dive on a topic. So I was fortunate for two things, one of which was the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office interviewed on campus, and we're still doing that today. And my father has a U.S. patent. So I knew this much about what a U.S. patent was, how one got one, what did it mean, what was the role and importance. So when the USPTO interviewed on campus right before my graduation, I thought, let me just check this out. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? I apply, I get hired, I do it for a couple of years until I figure out what I really want to do. Well, as I said, 34 years later, I'm still there. And I've held a variety of different positions, including being a U.S. patent examiner. And I hope in addition to an appreciation and understanding of the National Academy of Inventors and what it brings to your university, I hope you walk out of here today with the thought that, one, maybe I can have a U.S. patent if you don't already, because I suspect some of you in this room, and in fact, I know those of you who are receiving plaques today do have U.S. patents, but that each one of you walks out of here with the appreciation and belief that you too can have a U.S. patent, or, in a different vein, perhaps serve as a U.S. patent examiner. We have nearly 9,000 trained engineers and scientists who serve every day as U.S. patent examiners, reviewing U.S. patent applications. And we receive over 650,000 patent applications each and every year. So as you can imagine, as that number continues to grow, we need to continue to need and hire trained experts in a wide array of fields in order to analyze the technologies of tomorrow. Because that's just it. At the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, we saw tomorrow yesterday. Think about that for a second. As a U.S. patent examiner, you are seeing technologies days, months, years, even decades before they will ever see the store shelves, if in fact they are ever commercialized. Steve Sasson, the inventor of the digital camera, tells a great story. Steve Sasson was working as an engineer at Kodak. This was several decades ago. And as an engineer at Kodak, most of the engineers there were working on cameras and film because Kodak was known as a film company. Well, what does Steve go and do? Steve goes and uses his brilliance, his visionary thinking, and creates a camera that doesn't use film. Now, this seems like it might be a career-altering or ending decision. You work for a film company, and you invent a camera that doesn't require film. What have you just done to yourself? Well, long story short, he received that patent. Kodak received that patent, but it was 20 years later before any of us would ever be able to purchase a digital camera. So it just tells you that that trajectory sometimes is a very long-range trajectory. But with that, let me jump into these remarks because I know we have some very other important business to take care of this morning. So first and foremost, again, I want to thank my dear friend Adam for that kind welcome and allowing me to step into the shoes of Dr. Paul Sandberg, who had hoped, who had willed himself to be here today. He sends his deepest regrets at being unexpectedly unable to attend, and he also sends his best wishes and regards for the continued success of the individual members of the NJIT NAI chapter and the success of the chapter as a whole. I have to tell you, not every institution that participates in the NAI, and there's over 260 institutions that participate, not all institutions have a chapter. In fact, only about 50 of them have a chapter. Now, very honestly, I think that's somewhat short-sighted on their part because in my mind, the chapters are the true value, or one of the strongest elements of value in the NAI stable or portfolio of programs and initiatives that are helping to recognize, embrace, and empower inventors. How many of you belong to a club or an organization? It could be any kind. Maybe it's a Bible study, or maybe it's the IEEE, or maybe it's something else in your community, something else here at school. Organizations give us what? They give us a place to belong. They give us a place where people have like interests, or perhaps diverse interests, but an opportunity to connect, engage, support. And that's what an NAI chapter does. But here at NJIT, you are in extremely good hands with the National Academy of Inventors. Because in case you didn't know, and I think he's probably so humble that you don't know, that not only is Adam an inventor and academic juggernaut, and you know that through his title alone, but did you know that he believes so strongly in the mission and benefits of NAI that he is not only the president of this chapter, but he has been nominated and selected as an NAI Fellow, which is no small feat. He has been selected and serves as a National Academy of Inventors Invention Ambassador, and he is truly an incredible threat. He's not a triple threat, but a quadruple threat, because he has now also joined the NAI Board of Directors, where he helps to steer the present and future course of the NAI, ensuring its support of academic invention and inventors, that it faithfully remain on course while also adapting to meet the ever-changing needs of member institutions. So I think at this point in time, knowing that he holds these 4 separate roles in addition to his work here at the university, we all need to take one step back and not only thank him, but I think we need to look at his list of patented inventions. Because I think he must have developed a method or means by which to stretch the fabric of time to create days having more than 24 hours in them, which is both very interesting and very valuable. So thank you. Thank you again for all that you do. I don't know if many of you here have ever met today's intended keynote speaker, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Paul Sandberg, and a gentleman that I certainly cannot stand in his shoes. Because not only is he had a fantastic and lengthy career in academic leadership, research, and invention, but his Wikipedia page, and yes, he's that kind of guy. He has a Wikipedia page. It sets forth that he is an American scientist and inventor with his early work focused on causes of brain cell death. His recent research has been on methods of repairing damaged brain tissue, and in tandem with other scientists has demonstrated that stem cells derived from the blood of bone marrow and umbilical cords can be converted into neural cells. Really remarkable and life-changing work. He's a recognized Distinguished University Professor. He has served for over a decade previously as the Senior Vice President for Research, Innovation, and Knowledge Enterprise at the University of South Florida, and is truly a visionary. So we owe the creation and implementation of the National Academy of Inventors to his thoughtful creativity and leadership. Dr. Sandberg loves to tell the story, and he would probably tell it to you himself had he been here, that over 15 years ago, he sent out a simple communication across the University of South Florida, in Tampa, Florida, where he has spent a great part of his career. He sent out a communication. It was posted on the bulletin boards and in lobbies of buildings saying, is anyone an inventor? Is anyone interested in invention? If so, do you want to get together and let's have a group lunch and we'll talk about it? He was floored by the groundswell of turnout at this lunch. He expected that maybe he'd get 5 or 6, maybe even 10 people. He had over 100 people from across the departments of his university who showed up and said, yeah, I'm an inventor. Or maybe, yeah, I'm an inventor. And he started this kernel of an idea that there's inventors out there who are proud of what they do, who want to share what they do, who might be able to collaborate on what they do if we gave them the space and time to do it. So that was just the first step. So let's take a quick look at where we are today with the National Academy of Inventors. Thank you, of course, to those who at NJIT are firmly established in supporting the National Academy of Inventors. I'm sure these faces look very familiar to those of you in the room today. So who is the National Academy of Inventors? What is this organization? How many of you have heard of it before? I'm hopeful that many, most, all. Well, again, as I said, it's been around for over a decade. And it was founded, in fact, based on a dream and a vision which led to a conversation which from its very inception involved the US Patent and Trademark Office. At that time, our secretary, or Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Property, was a gentleman by the name of David Kapos. And David, like Paul Sandberg, was a visionary. When Paul Sandberg and David Kapos put their heads together, magical things happened. And in fact, the National Academy of Inventors was created, and David Kapos said, listen, we want to be a part of this. We want to support this because we love what you're doing to support and empower and recognize academic invention. We had previously had a couple of other large-scale collaborations through the US Patent and Trademark Office, one of which is the National Inventors Hall of Fame. The National Inventors Hall of Fame recognizes inventors who have at least two things in common, one of which is a US patent, the second of which that US patent has to be a technology that is so ubiquitous we cannot imagine our world without it. We think of Stephanie Kwolek and the inventor of Kevlar. We think of Henry Ford. We think of Thomas Edison. We think of Beulah Louise Henry, Lady Edison. These individuals are so iconic in our world of invention that they are now part of the over 600 recognized inventors who are in the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And these are inventors who came from all walks of life and still do today. We hold an induction ceremony every year. Now, while some of them have their foundations or even still exist in the world of academic invention, again, they come from all walks of life. We also at the US Patent and Trademark Office have the National Medal of Technology and Innovation, which we administer for the White House. Again, recognizing remarkable inventors. But we did not at the time, at the inception of the NAI, have an organization that was solely and squarely focused on the wealth of invention coming out of academia. And so this really fit a unique part of the innovation ecosystem. So today, what started with just a small conversation on the campus of the University of South Florida has transitioned to over 260 member institutions, which include US and international universities. So while we are the National Academy of Inventors, it is really, truly an international organization. It also has grown over time to include US national labs and other governmental and nonprofit organizations. So it is still recognized by the US Patent and Trademark Office. And in fact, if any of you were ever to come to our campus, our headquarters in Alexandria, Virginia, you could see the area we have reserved for recognition of the National Academy of Inventors. And I would, in fact, encourage you to come down and visit us at any time in your career. So while institutions like NJIT, it makes so much sense because you're already a powerhouse in invention, innovation, entrepreneurship. It makes sense for you to be a part of the National Academy of Inventors. But I'll tell you, there's other organizations, there's other universities that can benefit from just being in the room with you. I'll give you an example. I had the pleasure recently of being at Fayetteville State University. I don't know if any of you have been to lovely Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's a small, sleepy community, except for the fact that Fort Bragg is located there. Well, Fayetteville State University is an HBCU, it's a historically black college university. It is also has a very heavy veteran population, being right on the cusp of Fort Bragg. It's an organization, it's an institution, it's an academic center which wants to one day grow up and be an NJIT. They have just joined the National Academy of Inventors because they see the value that it can bring in fostering academic invention by placing them in the room to be in conversations with people like Atta and the work that's being done here at NJIT. So it's been a great opportunity to not only recognize and help universities that have the caliber of invention as an NJIT, but also help to expand the opportunities for other colleges and universities. So what is it that NAI has done, and what has the impact been in this little over a decade, this nearly 15 years they've been in existence? Well, I can tell you the impact has been widespread and strongly felt. We have helped to strengthen the national innovation ecosystem and economy through programs and initiatives, some of which I'm going to tell you about here today. We help recognize inventive faculty and staff through chapter programs, through the Fellows Program, through the NAI Senior Members Program. And I know NJIT has both Fellows of the National Academy of Inventors and Senior Members. My kudos and applause to you for recognizing those significant achievements. It also helps to have that conversation on publishing or patenting. Which is appropriate, which is most significant, which can lead to tenure. It's helped to have those conversations. It's helped to raise awareness about tech transfer and the importance of tech transfer offices. It has also helped us to develop collaborations with other organizations in the innovation ecosystem, whether that's Autumn or other organizations, VentureWell, that are helping to create a foundation for success for today and tomorrow's inventors and innovators. So as I said, you were so very, very fortunate, and I hope again that's one of your takeaways today, that you are part of a university that sees the value in having an NAI chapter. And I know it's an active and robust chapter. Again, out of our over 260 member organizations, we recognize that only about 50 have chapters, and it's a hidden and missed opportunity, perhaps. I can tell you in the DMV area, District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia, we have several universities that do also have a chapter. George Washington and Georgetown being two of those. They do something not like today's student research program, but they also take the opportunity to provide recognition, to provide support, and to call out to the face of their university the importance of the work that's going on behind lab doors, that's going on in research projects across the university. These chapters, as you already know better than anyone, serve as an innovation hub and as a powerful collaboration tool. You know, I think about the things that can happen in a chapter, and it makes me recall having a conversation with Sumita Mitra. Sumita Mitra, in case the name is not a household name or something on the tip of your tongue, Sumita Mitra is an inductee of the National Inventors Hall of Fame. She works for 3M and has for the majority of her career. She is actually a fantastic inventor in the area of dental implants. But one of the things that struck me most about having a conversation with Sumita Mitra was when she talked about how at 3M, they allow their researchers a certain amount of time that's, shall we say, off topic. It's not in their core area of study. She loves and values this time because in this time, she's allowed to visit other labs and visit with other colleagues across 3M. And through those conversations, cross collaborations have been developed. And I think that's one of the things that can happen in a chapter. So I think they're a place where excitement and creativity can take place. As you can see here at NJIT, there's so much going on, and some of it is done through and with the support of the NAI. The NJIT NAI chapter collaborates with the NSF Centers for Translational Research to provide resources and opportunities for students and faculty. The NAI chapter here is a tool to help develop strategic translation to NJIT research, innovation, and technology entrepreneurship ecosystem. And of course, the summer program that we are enjoying right now. I've said that if we could see something like this at all colleges and universities providing a summer opportunity for research and excellence, we would be much better off. I hope that this continues to serve as a template for other universities. Again, when we're talking about the impact of the National Academy of Inventors, we cannot fail to recognize the fellows of the National Academy of Inventors. The fellows here are almost in a sense like our National Inventors Hall of Fame inductees. The fellows are certainly those individuals that are at the pinnacle of their invention career. They've invented perhaps one or multiple technologies. And in fact, when we look at the fact that, and I've got some statistics here for you, there are 2,068 NAI fellows. These fellows, and I'll turn to it in just a second, hold over 81,000 patents. If we just did the simple math, that's approximately 40 patents apiece. Now we know that not every fellow has 40 patents. Some have many, many more, some have less. But that wealth of invention and innovation that has come from our NAI fellows. The newest class of fellows each year are inducted at the NAI annual conference. And I hope you'll consider attending the 2026 conference because we've just put the wraps on the 2025 conference. They are inducted by not only the NAI, but in collaboration with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. This is somewhere where you all should set your sights. Those of you who are just beginning your invention career, this should be on your bucket list, to be an NAI fellow one day. I know there's a lot of things on our personal bucket lists and our professional bucket lists, but this is one I would encourage all of you to set in your sights. These over 2,000 NAI fellows represent over 300 universities, government, and nonprofit organizations, which are receiving U.S. patents and putting them to work. Here are those statistics I promised you, and these alone reflect the significant impact of our fellows. Over 1.2 million jobs created, over 3.2 trillion in revenue generated by the inventions created by fellows. And the numbers just keep coming. The significance of the work of NAI fellows can be felt across the ecosphere, both here in our nation and across the globe. Now, after having the Fellows Program in place for quite a few years, the NAI took a step back and said, while we love to call out and recognize those that, again, are at the pinnacle of their career of invention, that have been inventing and contributing and teaching for the duration of their career, we also want to do something to incentivize people that are in the pipeline to be continuing their work and continuing to give back and striving to become a fellow, but how can we also mid-career recognize individuals? Well, this is when the National Academy of Inventors came up with its senior member program. Now, I will say just between you and me, there is oftentimes a lot of confusion about the name senior member. People sometimes think, well, senior member, that must be the person who's at the pinnacle of their career. They're a senior member. They've done everything there is to do. So, did we get the name right? I'm not sure. But know that the senior member position, the senior member recognition, is for those of you who are working towards becoming a fellow, working towards that recognition. It recognizes those who are in the earlier part of their inventive career, who have had success in patents, licensing, and commercialization, and have produced technologies that have brought or aspired to bring about real and societal and economic impact. I heard this morning from Autumn himself the importance of commercialization. An idea is just an idea. An idea, even if it is realized in a patent, is just an idea if it doesn't make it out, if it doesn't make it into that next step of the ecosystem. You know, oftentimes I do work with independent inventors, garage inventors, kitchen table inventors, and they'll say to me, a patent is my ticket to $1 million. And while I love that enthusiasm, I love that passion, the patent alone is not enough. There's so much that has to take place in addition to receiving that US patent in order for you to receive that first $1 million, in order for you to take it to the next level. So I appreciate that senior members are in there, they're in the trenches, and they're getting it done. There are 715 senior members representing over 100 universities and research institutions, and they hold over 7,000 patents. That means, you know, approximately 10 is held by each of our senior members. Our senior members do receive a challenge coin at their induction, and I think that challenge coin does what it says it does. It challenges them to continue to invent, to continue to push the boundaries of research. So what else does the National Academy of Inventors have going on? Well, they have lots of programs and publications, and so many of these can be a benefit to you. We have our Global Academic Inventors Network, where depending on where you are at in your academic career, you can serve as a mentor or as a mentee. You can apply to be connected with a mentor or mentee. We have a virtual IP curriculum and certificate. We recognize that many of us doing research, creating inventions, don't know the first thing about intellectual property. We become so focused on the study of science behind what it is we're doing and taking that science to the next level, we're not often taught about intellectual property, yet we should be. We all lead the lives we do because of patented technologies and trademark registered goods and services, yet most of us never attend a class that talks about what is a patent, what is a trademark, what is a trade secret or a copyright, and what am I creating, and how should it be best protected? Or how can I create an intellectual property portfolio that will take my innovation and create it into a company? So in collaboration with the Michelson Institute of IP, we are offering through the National Academy of Inventors a 12-module, 38-lesson course on intellectual property. And better yet, this course is free. It's available on the NAI website and can be attended by anyone. It is asynchronous training. Do it in your free time, which I know no one really has such a thing as free time. But I tell you, it'll be worth it. And this Michelson Institute for IP, this came about because of the inventor himself, Gary Michelson. Gary Michelson, also inductee of the National Inventors Hall of Fame, a prolific inventor in the area of surgery and biomedical devices, has taken some of his incredible wealth and turned it into educating the world about intellectual property. We have a number of webinar series, ScholarShare, From Campus to Commerce, the Invention Insider. We also have our NAI Invention Ambassador Program, which I'll tell you, if you want to know more about it, you've got one here in your midst. Bottom line, it puts people like Autumn out there as a superstar, as a representative of what invention is, what it looks like, how to make it happen. It's created a speakers bureau of invention ambassadors that companies, schools, individuals can have out these invention ambassadors to speak at their events. We also have our Technology and Innovation Journal, which is a great read. I think many of you would enjoy it. Speaking of our NAI Invention Ambassador Program, here's just a little bit more about it. Our invention ambassadors, as I said, can be requested to speak at events across the nation. I mentioned the GAIN program, the Global Academic Inventors Network Mentorship Program. And then, of course, there's also the Student Showcase, which may be of interest to each of you. This is something that is featured at the NAI Annual Conference. And if selected to participate in it, you will be able to attend the NAI Annual Conference. And this coming year in 2026, it will be held in Los Angeles, California, June 1st through 4th. So mark your calendar, start your research, and think about participating in the Student Showcase. I think one of the other really remarkable things that the NAI does, and they do it in collaboration with others, is they publish these rankings that can create talking points, create a buzz, and also provide really valuable information about where invention and innovation is happening. The top 100 worldwide universities, the top 100 US universities, and the top 60 nonprofit research institutions and government agencies. It's fascinating to see where innovation is being hosted, held, and accomplished these days. And you can find it out by looking at these various reports. I know I've alluded to our annual conference, and as I mentioned, June 1st through 4th in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. Come be part of the spotlight of our stars, the invention stars. So I hope that you all will consider coming out for that. I do want to also call attention back to the NJIT NAI chapter. We have had a winner in our midst, Tara Alvarez, who is a fellow of the National Academy of Inventors. She won first place for the PMU NAI International Patent Award in 2024. Congratulations to Tara. And this chapter itself received one of the inaugural Chapter of Excellence Awards in 2023. So we do have a recognition of our NJIT fellows. As I said, there are 16 here at NJIT, which is a remarkable number, and in fact have just had a new fellow inducted here in 2025. We also have a number of senior members. Congratulations, there are 10 NJIT senior members, 2 recently inducted in the 2025 meeting. With that, I'm going to close out my remarks on NAI, but I would be remiss if I didn't give you just a couple of pieces of information regarding the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. First and foremost, let me reassure you that even with all of the current changes going on in the present administration, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office is busy. We are focused on a return to first principles, with our priority being examining U.S. patent applications and U.S. trademark registrations. We have really taken steps to double down and focus our efforts on reducing the backlog in filings in both patents and trademarks. And to that point, I want to let you know that while there is a federal hiring freeze in place until October 15th, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has received an exception that speaks to the significance of our work and the need that we have for trained engineers and scientists. If you were to visit our website today, you would see we are hiring in all the areas of science, whether that's computer engineering, biomedical, physics, chemistry, biology, electrical engineering, and even some of those opportunities come with a signing bonus because we are in need of help. We are in need of help because of the substantial backlog. With that, we are waiting the arrival of the incoming head for our agency. We are currently under the guidance and direction of Acting Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Property, Coke Stewart, who will then serve in the role of our deputy. We are awaiting the arrival of John Squires, who has gone through the confirmation hearings, submitted written responses, but is waiting a vote on the Senate floor for his confirmation. With that said, I will call out also that we are in a unique position that this administration is very pro-innovation and pro-patent. In fact, the Secretary of Commerce, in case you don't know, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office is one of the agencies which is a part of the Department of Commerce. The Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, is in fact an inventor. It is the first time in our history that the Secretary of Commerce is in fact an inventor. He holds over 400 existing or expired patents where he is either the sole or a joint inventor. Most of them are in the fintech space, but some are in things such as peer-to-peer gaming. So he truly appreciates and understands the US patent system, the value a US patent brings. So we're kind of in a unique position right now. So I do want to extend a sincere appreciation and heartfelt thank you to all of you. We know that it takes a team to succeed, and especially a supportive university family willing to encourage and assist you in the pursuit of your dreams. All of you are helping to create a more hopeful and prosperous future for billions of people everywhere in the world. As we approach the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country, I cannot help but marvel at how our founding fathers had the foresight to establish a patent system that would encourage, accelerate, and reward the introduction of new and useful inventions. In fact, it was on this day, 56 years ago, that the return of Apollo 11 marked a monumental achievement in space exploration. On this day, 56 years ago, the Apollo 11 returned to Earth with astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, who successfully separated the command module from the service module and re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. This event not only fulfilled President John F. Kennedy's vision of landing a man on the moon before the end of the decade, but also symbolized humanity's capability to explore new frontiers and overcome challenges, something which each of you are trying to do in the research you are pursuing. So while the Apollo 11 mission remains one of humanity's greatest achievements, showcasing the ingenuity and courage of its crew, the support of the American public and government, it is also the science and engineering which made it all possible. So we celebrate you today for creating novel inventions in a variety of fields. And your inventions may change how things are done, but they will also change people's minds as to what is possible. Use your unique platform as an inventor to inspire others to the highest levels of achievement. Here at the NJIT and in the NAI chapter, you have a unique platform to inspire others. This is a prestigious group of academic inventors who are changing our world one invention at a time. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you so much. Very inspiring, very informative, and again, the visionary. Every time I hear you, I see new horizon. So thank you so much. Any question for Elizabeth Doherty? So I get one, and I think that this is from the academia that you mentioned in your talk publication versus the patent, and many times we live in the myth that this has to be one or other, like we need to sacrifice publication for the patent, and I keep telling. And I don't know how much I succeed, because having done that myself, I do not think this is one or other. it can be strategically created in a way so that you can accomplish both. Interestingly, for example, you may have a process in a sort of delaying a little bit so that the initial review process of the patent office is completed or at least filed. But United States is one of the things, is only the unique nation in as far as I know, that allows the provisional patent and 1 year grace period before you submit the non-provisional patent. But if you are granted the same claims that were funded or that were submitted in the original provisional patent, that is your applicable date. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So the thing is that, sometime our faculty and students, they are so much under the pressure for a conference coming next month or something like that, and they submit the public disclosure that they do not feel that they could have planned it a little bit better, filed the invention disclosure to the institution's tech transfer office. And I have over here some of the people that I would like to identify for the sake of us. Our tech transfer office head, the associate director, Sherry Dotson over there, our director of IP, and the associate counsel, general counsel, Sanjeev Chokshi, is sitting over there. He's an attorney. He files the provisional patent and then follows through the non-provisional patent filing and the Office of Action with MacArthur and English. There's our outsourcing company. And many of us are here that have been awarded the patent. So my appeal and to all of the students are, because they are our future leaders. Tomorrow they would be working with some industry or in academia. Do not live in that particular myth that it is publication or patent. It could be done both with the process. But one of the things that I often hear, that it takes a very long time from the non-provisional submission to the issued patent. Could you provide us some tips that how to foresee in the future that what we can do to reduce this particular time period?
For sure, and that's a great question. But before I address that question, I do want to thank you and compliment you for pointing out to today's audience, one, identifying the tech transfer office and the importance of beginning conversations with them very early on. And it is not publish or patent, but it is a delicate dance because of that grace period. Once you've made that public disclosure, and what constitutes a public disclosure, that can be a gray area. So better to be safe than to be sorry. So to be aware when you start to talk about your invention with others, are you making a public disclosure? So to be conscious of those timelines so you don't run afoul of being able to file a patent application. So with respect to filing times and the amount of time it takes for an application to be picked up for examination, as I shared, we receive over 650,000 patent applications every year for the last significant amount of years. With that, we issue about 350,000 patents, and that's based on the examiner population that we have, which I said we have nearly 9,000 trained engineers and scientists. We are working to expedite because we do know that rights delayed or rights denied, or it can feel that way. And sometimes technologies move so quickly, the longer it takes to get your patent, the less valuable it can feel. So we're addressing that by increased hiring. We are addressing that by the use of artificial intelligence in helping our examiners to conduct searches, do administrative tasks. But there are also tools within the office. There's something called our Track 1 expedited examination, where if you have an application that you feel either it has a short shelf life, or you are going up against a competitor, or it is something where you need a patent much more quickly, for an additional fee, you can get expedited examination. And some of those have issued in as little as 3 or 4 or 5 months, because both you, the applicant, and the examiner are put on an expedited time frame. And in fact, we just increased the number of applications we are accepting each year into that program, recognizing that there is a greater demand for it while there is a backlog. I think one of the other things that can help to get an application through the system more quickly is just to file a high quality application. And certainly I'm sure those that are coming out of your tech transfer office are of that stature. But if an application comes in and it has missing parts or it has missing fees, it complicates the process. If it's not written clearly and it requires multiple office actions. Our patent examiners, on average, they are instructed to conduct what we call compact prosecution. They are instructed that they should not handle an application more than 2.5 times. Now, with that said, they are going to handle a patent application until it reaches completion, but the goal is that it does not churn within the system, that in their first office action, that they provide a very robust and fulsome response to the applicant, providing all of the prior art up front, providing all of the arguments, rejections, objections up front, so that prosecution is not drawn out unnecessarily. So we always strive to do that as well. So I think, again, filing a thorough and complete application, which also includes if you're aware of prior art. If you are aware of prior art that is pertinent to the patentability of your invention, you have a duty to disclose that to the office. Provide that prior art up front. I know that sounds kind of scary. Oh, I'm going to give you prior art to use against me. We are going to find that prior art anyways. You might as well provide it to us to expedite the process, and then we can have that conversation. Keep in mind, the law sets forth that you are entitled to a patent unless. So we at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, not the U.S. Rejection Office, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, we start from the point that you are entitled to a patent. We want to give you a patent. It is only if we go through the process and find out that your invention is not novel, that it is non-obvious, that it does not have utility, that we are going to have to not provide you with a patent. We want to. We want to give you a patent you can take to the bank and not to the courthouse.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was super helpful. Any further question? Yeah.
You had mentioned how these inventors created many jobs and trillions in value for the economy. But how do you feel about patents that are made to starve innovation and almost solely exist to have a monopoly over a market?
So as an inventor, you have the right to decide what to do with your patent rights. The US patent system incentivizes you to disclose your rights so that you can exclude others from making, using, selling, offering for sale, or importing your device for a limited period of time without your permission. And after that, it becomes part of the public domain. We think all invention that goes out there is of value, because whether it's commercialized or not, it becomes part of the repository, the wealth of technological information that is the foundation of this nation and technology of the future. 99% of patents that issue today are for improvements on existing technologies. So they all provide value. So yes, I know there's not every patent is used perhaps to the extent of how it could be. And certainly there are a lot of conversations about how people choose to use their technology. But again, we've been very generous in the Constitution. We've been very generous in the patent system that we leave that decision making up to the owner of those patent rights.
Yeah. You know.
Can I raise a question to that question?
Yeah.
How do you know that without that patent, it would have even been a market? Did anybody
That's
else
good.
have something that was similar to what was in there? Because the patents create markets. Many times the market didn't exist until that patent was issued. People suddenly said, oh my God, it's great.
And,
So
the,
if you do something.
and in the innovation cycle for translation to the real application, to translation to developing the products that the society could use, there are many, many stakeholders that are required and many things that have to happen in that particular translation ecosystem. What patents creates, just like an innovative idea, it does not create by itself the commercialization. It creates possibilities. It creates possibilities. And that's how, and nobody can expect that there would be 100% conversion of the patents to the commercialization. It is not possible. But then, on the other hand, the people, like what Brian did in his position several years ago, creating the portfolios of the patents. And that opens up the entire, a different ecosystem in which not just one single patent has to have a mapping of contribution, but the collection of those particular patents creates the entire world of the market, right? That's what you did. So sometimes the background IP makes it much more critical for some technology to be successful, even though the background IP is not, the main part of that particular product, but it is very important, right? Okay, so I think that please join me in thanking Elizabeth for a super talk. Before we move on to, I wanted to build something that Elizabeth said, if you allow me, please. The student showcase and the student access, or as a matter, anybody's access to that particular great online course on IP. I have mentioned that we have put it on our CTR website, the link to it on the NJIT chapter link onto it. But I think that I can't emphasize enough, even though every year or every year, one or two, we do the CTR workshop on IP and technology transfer commercialization. You have been in two of them already with us. It is very important for you to be inspired and take the initiative to go through those particular tools and the information in there to see, is there something in your future, and I'm talking to the students as well as faculty, that you would come to the crossway where you would think about that this is a real possibility for you to consider and participate in it. Because having no knowledge of these possibilities and the world of the intellectual property, innovation, entrepreneurship, and commercialization is not good for the society. It is an asset that you will carry for the rest of your life for your professional advancement. It does not matter whether you work for a company or you work for yourself or you work in academia. Thinking about the innovation and protecting the translational right for that particular idea is very important. Otherwise, what is going to happen, we are going to wait for 60 years for somebody to pick up from the publication a technology that could have transformed, like X-ray computed tomography, from 1917 to 1968. The world cannot afford it. The world have to speed up finding out the next RNA technology to treat immunodepressant or the cancer diseases today, not 30 years from now. And you are our future, and you have to find the way in your busy schedules to be familiar, to be knowledgeable of those translational pathways. Don't think that somebody has to tell you what to do to get paid. You have to take the leadership to have other people join you in creating the job growth through that innovation. So there are two things which are going to be happening from this 2 days symposium. The judges over here are scoring every presentation in the innovation category, in the research need category, and the potential impact category. So this afternoon, they are going to give me the compiled score sheet, and they're being compiled in the real time. We are going to select the top group of the students, not only for Dr. James Stevenson Innovation Award. As I mentioned, the first prize is $1,000 and a trophy. Second prize is $750 and a trophy, and third prize is $500 and a trophy, and 5 honorable mention with $100 each. But more importantly, you will be inducted into 2 elite groups. The first one is the Student Innovator and Inventor Club of the NAI chapter at NJIT. So you are going to get that certificate. You can write on your resume that you are a part of the student club. Why am I mentioning that? Because I strongly, strongly encourage those who would be inducted in there, seriously consider participating in a student showcase for 2026 NAI annual conference. That is an amazing, amazing opportunity to come to the world of the inventors that you were just introduced today. The second thing, we, with the NSF Technology Innovation and Partnership Directorate through the Center for Translational Research, which is now designated as a coordinating center for the NSF art program. This is what I presented at the Atlanta conference, the art portal network. We have created the Student Ambassador Network. It is called Artisan, Accelerating Research, Translation, Integrated Student Ambassador Network. That is the full form Artisan. You will be inducted into that Artisan network. And a month from now, the CTR is going to host a nationwide live video streamed event, which is called the Artisan Network Symposium. And you will be invited to make a presentation, which would be video streamed to NAI, the last time we did that, and also to all NSF-funded art programs in the nation. So there are rewards, and we are opening up some doors for you, but it is up to you to take benefit out of it. So with that, we are going to go to the second part of the event, is to recognize and honor our faculty and student inventors. We have put together these patent awards in the form of this particular trophy. I think that, could you give me this? Yeah, just there. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, this one here. And I will give the call, and I will ask Elizabeth to join me in giving these awards. So the first one is, let's see, my things are there. Vivek Kumar and Jan Siddiqui for targeted nanoparticles for the treatment of traumatic brain injury and other CNS diseases. Could you come forward? Okay. So please join me here. You will come in there. And that's your. Thank you. And just stay here because you're going to take for. Oh, Vivek is here. Oh, there you go. All right. Yeah, he told me that he has a defense. Well, congratulations. Okay.
Very
Yeah,
much.
join us.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
See,
Uh,
stay-
yeah, you're done.
that's it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
The next is the patent Xiaoyang Zhu, and he couldn't be with us, but in his place, his student, Zixiang Liu, is presenting. Is coming? Yeah. On the stage? Okay, all right. We'll go on the stage. I think we will be by the flag. That would be relevant. Okay, just come in the middle and have this. Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. Congratulations. And we have Edward Dreesen for spherical composite powder. Dr. Dreesen? Yeah. Yeah, come on. Yeah.
This is quite another. He doesn't-
Okay, all right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The next is Kamlesh Sarkar for continuous production of active pharmaceutical ingredient. Kem Sarkar. Oh, okay. The trophy has your name and the title of the patent with the seal. Okay. All right. Thank you. Congratulations. And next is Murat Govardhan Hang Trong is accepting on behalf of Dr. Govindran method for 3D printing a thermally curable polymeric ink. Hi. Congratulations. Okay. And then Tara Alvarez, you know her. And Soham Shashi Kumar, method, systems, and apparatus for diagnostic assessment and screening of binocular dysfunction, along with Cheng Yaramatu. Hi.
Thank you
How
so
are you?
much.
You're also going to receive for Chang. You got two. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And then we have another one for Kamlesh Sarkar, right? Hollow fiber membrane module for direct contact membrane distillation-based desalination. Dr. Sarkar is also an NAI fellow. All right. Thank you. Congratulations. And another one for Dr. Morit Govindran and Hang Trong is going to receive. Dr. Govindran is our senior member, and pretty soon would be the NAI fellow, I would believe. All right, thank you. Rajesh Dave. Oh, there you are. Long time.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And we are inducting Jane Siddiqui to the NAI member, so NJIT chapter and the NAI member. Jane? Is there? You're the member of the Academy now. Okay. And we are honoring two with honorary member. Is Dr. Petras? Huh? Okay. Yeah. All right. Mirko Shionis. You are inducted in the National Academy of Inventors as a member. Congratulations. All right, thank you. And DK Cole. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations, everyone. And Petras is not here.
He's not here. Is Roberto Torres here?
Is Roberto Torres here? No. Okay. And I am going to request Elizabeth to administer the oath ceremony to the new members. Can you put the mic on? What, that one? Oh, okay. There is a button there.
It's on
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, that works.
Perfect, thank you. For those who are new to the Academy and being welcome to the Academy, in recognition of your support and commitment to advancing technological development and innovation, I hereby declare and certify that you are members of the National Academy of Inventors and are granted all rights and privileges of the Academy. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you so much. And that concludes the morning session, and we are going to go for a lunch break and networking session. The lunch is on the other side of this partition there. And we would like to start. Please be back by 1:15. Okay, so we'll get it started at 1:15. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, it's a
Okay.
pleasure.
So let's pick up some lunch.
Please,
Yeah.
I'll have to head out here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay.